this is Dave Opdahl, and welcome back to our video series on implementation and consulting skills. In this video, I'd like to talk about problem resolution. And it's a tough one because nobody likes bad news, right? But you're going to have difficulty. There are going to be times when there's difficulty in the project, there's difficulty in the relationship, maybe the client isn't paying their bills, maybe you're not delivering, whatever it is, there are going to be problems. So how do you handle those, right? I think, again, it's one of those situations where I've had some painful experiences that have taught me some valuable lessons. I had a situation one time where I had to be on site with a client to address a complicated issue or complicated requirement that was kind of outside of my skill set, okay? And so I was assigned a colleague who presumably had more knowledge about this area and could therefore speak to it more clearly. As you might imagine from the fact that we're talking about problem resolution, it didn't quite go that way. The colleague, he just wasn't ready at all to discuss this issue. And this was a room full of people, right? There were probably 20 people in the room. And he just sort of could have done anything he could to just slide out of the room without being noticed. Leaving me in a very difficult position, and I had to try to manage the conversation as best I could. We no sooner walked out the door than I just stopped him and said, "That never, ever happens again." Because I knew the client really well, and I knew that that was a bad meeting. That just didn't go well at all. Fortunately, there was a bit of a drive home, and by the time I got home, there was an email waiting for me from the project lead who was really pissed, and understandably so. It was completely justified. I sort of, took a deep breath and then sat down and crafted an email, and I offered no excuses, okay? I completely agreed with her. I just said, look, you're absolutely right. That was horrendous. It was never supposed to go like that, but it did. And, I can guarantee that we will correct this, and we will ensure that that does not happen again. And we did correct it, and it never did happen again. And I ended up having additional work with this client over a period of years, and it was never brought up again because it got resolved, okay? And that's the key. You can't waste time on blaming. You can't waste time on excuses. You can't waste time on any of that. The only time you can invest is in crafting a solution. Now, in this case, in kind of the scenarios I'm talking about, are those areas where you have control, have at least some control to initiate a good resolution. There are times when you don't, where the client is just being wholly unreasonable, and at that point you have to really start to question, is this really a good relationship for us to be in? Okay, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes problem resolution in that regard means you either fire the client or at least do it before they fire you. But you have to know when to walk away from those kinds of situations. But yeah, being open, clear, honest, taking responsibility for what is yours to take responsibility for. If you're the lead on the project, you take responsibility for it. And you move everything in a direction of correction, okay? And then ensure that it doesn't happen again. So yeah, that's a painful one, but hopefully you can learn from my my difficulties. Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. Our next, stay tuned for the next video coming through. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. There'll be more coming. Lots of different areas. We're going to be looking at different kinds of training videos and things like that. So this whole channel will be growing relatively quickly. So, at any rate, that's it. Have a great day. Thanks again. Try it and let me know how it turns out.